Everybody says she's a bully. She's very nasty. Not only is she incredibly controlling, but she's a bitch about.
This also follows all the stories about her bullying staff over here in the UK, which is unresolved. NDAs stopped all that stuff coming out, but she bullied people in a very unpleasant way over here.
End of every episode, it says, like, the starring Meghan, Duchess of Sussex.
Yes.
That's how she's.
Did you see my baby mama dance?
I mean, stop it. First of all, can I just tell you the timing of that? We maybe watched it like 20 times yesterday, and I was like, is that her?
Oh my God.
Is that Prince Harry there with the fingers and the... I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also, by the way, that wasn't yesterday.
No,
that was 4 years ago. So it's also a really great reminder that with all the noise or whatever people do, there's still a whole life, a real, authentic, fun life that's happening behind the scenes. I'm just grateful that now, being back on social as well, I have a place where I can share it on my own terms.
Yeah. Oh, it's so great. It's so authentic, isn't it?
The online world was already swirling, and Meghan Markle just dropped gasoline on the blaze. After a now viral video showed her twerking, heavily pregnant, in a hospital room, Meghan didn't apologize or soften the moment. She doubled down on a public podcast, calling it a moment of joy and proof she's always real. If she hoped it would defuse criticism, that backfired spectacularly. Megyn Kelly launched a blistering counterattack on air, labeling Meghan's response embarrassing, tone-deaf, and a slap in the face to the royal institution she once claimed to respect. The fallout has been brutal.
There's a real delight in being able to be a present parent. And it's a luxury sometimes because we all have to work. We all have a lot of stuff to do. But when you can take a minute to just...
Saturday morning.
Mornings are as I get the kids off to school. You're making fruit parfait crudité boards? Like,
my God.
whom? She's...
Before we even get to the main event.
When the stakes are this high, doesn't it make more sense to hear our story from us?
Oh, shut up. What do you mean the stakes are this high? Who do you think you are? Other than a latte-munching imbecile.
Oh my gosh, I work so hard.
She talks like she's a one-woman band. That is not hard work. Hard work is get up in the morning, get to 7 o'clock, get into a factory or a shop and working for 10 hours on your feet, coming home knackered. That's not what happens to her.
And still being a mom.
That is
still
not
being
what
a
happens to
mom.
her.
Social feeds are plastered with hashtags like hashtag disgrace to Diana, hashtag strip the titles, hashtag not my Duchess. What was meant to reclaim her narrative has turned into a full-blown PR disaster. The video had already gone viral, a brief but jarring clip of Meghan Markle, visibly pregnant, twerking playfully in what appeared to be a hospital delivery suite. It was filmed years ago, yes, but its sudden resurfacing struck the internet like lightning. Supporters called it freeing. Critics called it inappropriate. But the real twist came not in the video itself, but in how Meghan responded. On a recent episode of the Aspire podcast, hosted by fashion mogul Emma Grede,
Harry Sussex? I have no idea. And no, Meghan, no one knew that. Like, why are you correcting?
The only thing HRH stands for in association with Meghan Markle is her ruthless homewreckerness.
I'm going to show you how to make a happy, warm, loving home after I have successfully severed my husband's ties from his entire family.
Meghan Markle, she may have stepped down from royal duties more than 5 years ago, but she keeps taking aim at the monarchy. The Duchess of Sussex has made reportedly at least half a dozen swipes at the royal family this year, and it's only June.
Meghan addressed the video head-on. No denial, no softening. She smiled and said, "That was just joy, pure joy. I've always been real." She explained that the video, recorded privately during her first pregnancy, was meant to show that even under pressure, motherhood could be light, spontaneous, and unapologetically fun. She called it a moment of joy at the beginning of a very hard chapter.
The Duchess of Sussex talks publicly for the very first time about her father and her half-sister, Samantha Markle. She tells Oprah how she felt when she found out her dad was working with the tabloids.
As ever, her new company, the very first thing she said was, look, you know, when I had the TIG, which was her previous lifestyle website, you know, I loved cooking and I loved gardening and being a hostess, and that she basically said I had to keep my light under a bushel at this time because of the royal family. Then we get her show, her Netflix show.
The problem? That explanation didn't cool the fire. It threw it gasoline. In trying to reframe the clip as empowering, Megyn inadvertently turned a private moment into a public litmus test. For critics, it wasn't just a dance move. It became a symbol of blurred lines between personal growth and public image. Instead of closing the conversation, Megyn's defense reignited it, transforming what many thought was a passing viral moment into a cultural lightning rod. And the most explosive response came from one voice in particular.
It is time for the Royals Report, and this week we got a look at the annual Sovereign Grant Report from the royal family. The report shows just how much money is used each year to support the Queen, as well as to maintain the royal palaces.
No, the world's biggest victims right now are the Duke and Duchess of Netflix, and don't take my word for it.
This promise of once you're married.
Megyn Kelly has never been one to hold back, and this time was no exception. Within hours of Megyn's podcast airing, Kelly unleashed a full-force takedown on the Megyn Kelly Show. And it wasn't just criticism, it was demolition. She called the video cringe-inducing, performative, and most damningly, a slap in the face to the monarchy she once claimed to uphold. But it was Megyn's podcast defense that really set Kelly off. The talk show host accused Megyn of hiding behind modern language to justify attention-seeking behavior. Joy isn't the issue, Kelly said. The issue is taking a deeply personal, vulnerable, sacred moment, childbirth, and turning it into clickbait. She didn't stop there. Kelly said Megyn was rebranding shamelessness as empowerment, using feminism as a buzzword rather than a belief.
Hey, lowly cameraman, come over here and try some fried chicken. Try the fried chicken. Try the fried chicken. We need to make it look like I actually care about my camera crew. Come get some fried chicken. Act like you're having fun. Act like you're having fun.
I want my home to feel welcoming. Do you feel welcome? Does my soundstage welcome you? Mindy and I are such great friends, like besties. Like, I love her. Like, she doesn't know my name, but we're best friends.
Hello all. Sorry we're late. Our flight was delayed.
It was mint though. Tell them we were in mint.
They gave you a mint. How lovely. I have some gum in my purse if you'd like.
Oh, we were in mint. It's like their business class. It's really nice. And
Megyn, I'm begging you to stop now.
She framed the Duchess's entire public image as a calculated mix of vulnerability and ambition, using emotional moments to maintain media control. It wasn't just judgment. It was strategy, she argued. And Megyn, she claimed, was playing the audience. The episode quickly went viral, shared across media platforms, dissected in headlines, and echoed by commentators who had long harbored doubts about Megyn's approach to authenticity. But this wasn't just about one video or one critique. It was a collision between two worldviews, one rooted in self-expression, the other in public perception. And suddenly, the language Megyn used to defend herself became the very battleground critics attacked.
Hard to, if you excuse the massive book deals, the Silicon Valley startups, the preaching videos about well-being, the podcasts, the speeches, and the major network interviews with everyone from Oprah Winfrey to James Corden. But they've barely been seen or heard at all, have they? Well, on Thursday, they'll quietly and apologetically release their $100 million.
Zoom in here and it says, with the compliments of Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. That is a title that was stripped from her when she and Harry made their whole racism debacle and left the UK, left their royal duties, and moved to the US to bug all of us.
It's so funny, too, that you keep saying Meghan Markle. You know I'm Sussex now.
In her podcast appearance, Megyn leaned heavily on buzzwords designed to signal relatability and empowerment. Joy, authenticity, real, unapologetic. It's a playbook familiar to modern audiences, particularly in influencer and celebrity spaces. But Megyn Kelly and a growing number of voices weren't buying it. Kelly described Megyn's vocabulary as focus-grouped feminism, a way to sanitize spectacle with digestible virtue. To her, Megyn wasn't reclaiming motherhood. She was using it as a brand opportunity. One commentator put it bluntly, if you package every moment of intimacy as a message, eventually people stop believing it's real. The critique wasn't that Megyn danced. It was that she made it public and then used branding language to reframe it. Even some supporters began to question the approach. Not because they disagreed with the idea of reclaiming space for pregnant bodies in the media, but because the defense felt too polished, too strategic. This wasn't vulnerability. This was rollout. And once the public started reading between the lines, the words meant to protect Meghan became the very ones critics used to dismantle her. That shift fueled the wildfire across social media. If there's one place where narratives live or die, it's social media. And this one exploded on impact. Shortly after the podcast clip went viral, social platforms became a war zone of commentary, speculation, and division. On X, formerly Twitter, hashtags like #disgrace to Diana, #strip the titles, and #NotMyDuchess surged to the top of trending lists across multiple countries. TikTok creators flooded the platform with reaction videos, some mocking the podcast moment, others stitching it with Megyn Kelly's reaction and giving their take. One viral video racked up over 3 million views in 24 hours. Its caption? There's a difference between being real and being reckless. Even long-standing Meghan supporters found themselves uncomfortably quiet. The usual A-list defenders, who had previously jumped to her side, remained noticeably silent. Meanwhile, YouTube commentators turned the entire situation into a full-on case study. Entire videos were dedicated to dissecting Meghan's language, PR intent, and the strategic rollout of her unfiltered motherhood message. View count soared, comments flew, and the longer Meghan remained silent post-podcast, the louder the speculation grew. This wasn't just backlash, it was brand erosion in real time. The energy around the twerk video had gone from viral curiosity to cultural crisis. And inside the royal circles Meghan once stood adjacent to, insiders were already weighing what this meant for the family she left behind. Inside Buckingham Palace, the fallout reportedly sent shockwaves. Senior aides were said to be blindsided, not by the video itself, but by Meghan's defiant podcast defense. To the institution, which has long operated on discretion and poise, this public celebration of what they view as a spectacle felt like a direct challenge. One royal insider allegedly described it as a public unraveling of everything the monarchy stands for. There was no public rebuke, no comment, but insiders suggest a quiet distancing may already be in motion. The absence of support, no defense, no clarification, spoke volumes. According to one source, the response wasn't just disapproval. It was discomfort. The sort of discomfort that results in exclusion from future events, silence at official gatherings, and doors that don't open when they used to. And that silence? It's louder than words. Behind the scenes, Meghan's PR machine reportedly went into full crisis mode. Advisors were split. Some urged a tactical retreat, edit the footage, scrub the podcast mentions, let it fade. Others believed in doubling down, leaning into the authenticity, narrative, and reframing the backlash as societal resistance to female freedom. But the indecision may be causing more harm than help. Reports suggest Netflix is reviewing how this content fits within future docuseries installments. Branding consultants are allegedly drafting multiple contingency plans, including an apology tour option. And one Hollywood insider claims that Meghan's team floated the idea of another podcast episode to clear the air, an idea many reportedly rejected as too soon, too reactive. The problem? Every move now feels reactive. The message has slipped from her hands, and the public's rewriting it in real time. At the heart of this controversy lies a clash of identity. Meghan's public image has always been a balancing act, royal but modern, polished but unfiltered. But this latest moment cracked the illusion. For traditional audiences, the video was a line-crossing moment. For younger fans, it was maybe too performative. And for critics, it was all confirmation. Brand experts now warn, when your platform is built on authenticity, even one misstep can reframe your entire narrative. Is she relatable or reckless? Empowering or excessive? Every headline, every trending hashtag shifts the answer. And now, even past offenders are treading lightly, worried their support may soon be seen as complicity in content creation disguised as candor. The Meghan brand isn't just under pressure, it's at a crossroads. Megyn Kelly's explosive response didn't just criticize, it opened the floodgates. The twerking video, once just a quirky viral moment, has become a symbol of something bigger. The battle between image and intention, between freedom and perception. Meghan wanted to own her narrative, but in doing so, she may have unintentionally lost control of it. What happens next depends on whether she adapts or digs in. A carefully crafted follow-up could mend fences and reframe the moment as misunderstood joy. But doubling down again? That might cement the backlash into legacy. And the danger isn't just public shame, it's long-term brand erosion. This isn't about a dance. It's about dignity, timing, and the tightrope walk of living in the spotlight. And for Meghan, that rope is looking increasingly thin. In a world driven by image, silence can be deafening. And right now, Hollywood's silence on Meghan's viral moment is impossible to ignore. No statements of support. No Instagram likes. No friendly mentions on late-night shows. In fact, some entertainment insiders claim that producers and brand partners have privately paused talks involving upcoming collaborations. The reason? Risk. When a PR moment spirals out of control, brands distance fast. Several sources allege that companies associated with Meghan's lifestyle brand and upcoming media projects have called emergency meetings to assess potential backlash. One executive reportedly said, "We're not touching that clip. Not now. Not ever." The industry may not be canceling her, but it's certainly stepping back. And in Hollywood, hesitation is often the first sign of a full freeze-out. What started with a viral video and a sharp podcast defense has now forced the media into a full re-examination of Meghan's image. Even outlets once considered sympathetic are now asking hard questions. Several op-eds have dissected the moment, raising concerns about boundaries between personal empowerment and performative branding. One column in a major UK paper said it plainly: "This wasn't rebellion. This was reputation roulette." Editorial boards are reportedly debating how to cover future Sussex updates without sounding like cheerleaders or critics. And the tone across the media landscape has shifted. This moment is no longer being framed as brave. It's being framed as divisive. And once that tone changes, it's hard to walk it back. Though the palace has remained officially silent, insiders say the internal ripple effect is real. Some senior royals are reportedly frustrated, not just by Meghan's public moves, but by the narrative damage it causes to the institution as a whole. One former courtier allegedly warned that every outburst, every headline reopens wounds we've tried to close. There's quiet talk of further distancing efforts, possibly restricting use of titles in upcoming public-facing projects. Even Prince William, who rarely comments on such issues, is said to be aware and concerned about the growing backlash and its potential to overshadow ongoing royal initiatives. This isn't just a reputational crisis for Meghan. It's reopening old divides inside the firm, and some believe it's only just beginning. Meghan danced. Meghan defended. Megyn Kelly struck back, and the world responded. This wasn't just about content. It was a collision of values, identity, and modern brand demands. A moment meant to be joyous is now a question of judgment. Authenticity is powerful, but only when supported by reflection, empathy, and awareness. Without that, even the boldest move becomes a cautionary tale. So I ask you, did Meghan miscalculate? Or was this moment boldly real, and everyone else too prudish to handle it? Tell me what you think, and let's keep the conversation going.